guys, Julia here from JM Squared Vintage. Welcome back to the channel. I am here today with the Ship With Me. These are a bunch of orders that came in over the weekend. We've got a new camera angle. I'm trying to get you a little bit closer to the action. What do you think? Let me know down below. But we've got a couple really cool pieces that came through, some really interesting vintage pieces, some really fast sales. So I cannot wait to kind of share with you what sold, how long I've had them in my inventory, what I got them for, kind of bring you into that part of my process here. But if this is the first time we're meeting, first and foremost, hi, welcome. I'm Julia. That is my name. We talk all things thrifting and vintage and reselling on the internet here. If that sounds like something that you might be into, consider hitting subscribe down below. I would love to have you along on this journey. But without further ado, guys, it's Monday afternoon. Surprising to nobody, I am running very late. So I've got to get these things packed and off to the post office. So sit back, relax, and let's get into the shipments. So the first piece that we're gonna ship off here, and I had this kind of strangely on the hanger because it's a very heavy dress. This is a little black scoop neck dress from Reformation. One of my favorite brands to find. I don't find them often, but when I do, I always grab them. This is a midi length dress, and it's that beautiful, heavy, like tencel. It's got pockets, it's got kind of a full skirt, but because the skirt is so heavy, it's just so much fabric, and this is a heavier fabric. I didn't want to hang it from its shoulders because I feared that it would get a little bit stretched out. I always have my little lint roller handy. Any kind of black jersey just picks up any fuzz. It's just kind of one of those tougher dresses to fold too. It's a little unwieldy. But I believe this is called the Lou dress, L-O-U, and it's just a great basic. But this is basically in like new condition. It doesn't feel like it's been worn much at all. Like there's no wear under the arm or anything like that. You know, if it's been washed with care. Any kind of tencel, just so you know. Tencel's a little bit less of a risk with this, but that's any kind of cellulose fiber. That's like your rayon, tencel, lyocell, even modal. I always want to proceed with extreme caution when you're laundering it. Like if you've ever bought a shirt, you know, that you loved and it's flowy and it looks great when you wear it just out of the package, and then you wash it and all of a sudden it's like 3 inches shorter. Chances are you're dealing with a cellulose textile and it was washed in some kind of heat. So any kind of heat, it doesn't matter if the heat is from the dryer, which is a huge no-no, or from the washing machine, can shrink cellulose fibers. So even though like lyocell and tencel are a little bit less likely to shrink, they still very much can. So always just like proceed with caution. Wash in cold, tap cold if you've got it. No dryer, only line dry any kind of cellulose fibers. So this dress, I want to say it retailed for close to $200. I had it listed for $64, and the buyer and I went back and forth a little bit on price. We landed on $50, which I did accept. After 4 days, with the $1 cost of the bins, my profit on this ended up being $39 even. So I hope she loves it. This is such a great like basic, and Reformation is all about sustainable pieces, beautiful quality. So I hope she loves it, and I hope it's in her closet for a really long time. Next up, this is a beautiful little shirt from a brand called Tucker. This was a brand that was new to me when I found it, but I felt the textile. It's this beautiful silk. It's kind of like a longer line, like a tunic with a jacquard print. I don't know if you're seeing any of that texture there, but I grabbed it because the tag looked nice and the fabric was of course beautiful. And lo and behold, I didn't even comp this in store. There's just certain kind of features to a piece that kind of preclude me even bothering comping them while I'm in the store. I just know based on what it is, it's going to be a great piece and it'll sell well. But sure enough, Tucker is sold at Neiman Marcus. It's a very expensive brand. This was probably $300 or $400 new. So super happy I rolled the dice on that one. Of course, I got it for $1, so it's, you know, it's easy to make those risks. I'm really fortunate that I kind of have that ability. You know, obviously my mileage may vary depending on if I'm sourcing at a regular thrift store or if I'm sourcing at one of the locations around me that are pay by the pound, but this one I found at the $1 per item bins location. I think it's just gorgeous. I'm interested. Have any of you ever found a piece from Tucker? Do you like Tucker? Have you worn it? Let me know. Because again, it was new to me, and I always love finding new things, but I also love like hearing people's experiences with them. It's how we all get better at what we do. So this piece I had listed for $68. And I had it listed for about 2 months, and I got an offer for $57.80, very specific. And I did take that with a $1 cost of the bins. This brought my profit to $52.47. I hope she absolutely loves that beautiful piece. Next up here, now this is an interesting set. This is actually a 2-piece set. This is like a robe and a nightgown set from Donna Richard. I'm just gonna do this one piece at a time here. This is probably vintage from the 70s. And the robe is like short sleeve. It's got this, it's kind of like a flutter sleeve. It's got this lace trim, lace details up on the shoulders. And then the nightgown has this pretty, like this really flattering kind of wide shoulder with this pretty like lace inset here with a little lace up detail. I feel like it's so rare to find these kind of sets intact. Like, you know, usually somebody will wear the nightgown more than they wear the robe, and you know the robe gets donated 3 years before the nightgown does, so they don't stick together. So it was a real treat to find these at the same place at the same time. But I do love finding vintage sleepwear. It does do well for me. I know Eileen West, I know of course Laura Ashley, we all love finding vintage Laura Ashley. Donna Richard I've never heard of before, so I'm not quite sure where they were sold. I'm assuming probably like, you know, a Macy's or maybe even a Penny's, but either way, people really seek this kind of stuff out because they're hard to find. If you like wearing floor-length cotton poplin sleepwear, there's not many options to buy it new. So a lot of people who really do love that turn to the secondhand market, and that's where it comes in for us. These don't sell for low prices. You know, these are the kind of things that if you're finding them at the bins or if you're finding them for $4 or $5, pick them up because people will pay, you know, $25, $35, $45, depending on the brand, up to like $80. Like Laura Ashley stuff can go up to $80 or even $100. Anyway, I had this guy listed for about 2 weeks. I had it listed for $44. I got an offer for $40.80. With a $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $29.91. Always love being able to find one of these pieces and get them into the hands of somebody because I know how much they love them. Next up is this fabulous pair of 7 for All Mankind men's pants. This just kind of had all the hallmarks of a pair of pants that I knew was gonna sell great. Number one, they're like brand new condition. They're 7 for All Mankind, so it's a brand people know and love. They're straight leg. And you know, they retail for about $200. So I love finding these kind of newer 7 for All Mankind pieces. And the brown corduroy just gives me like hipster vibes, right? Like this is like the hipster uniform. A good pair of straight leg corduroy pants in this color specifically. Like, you know that they're gonna be worn with those like vintage style Saucony running shoes or maybe even the New Balances. I can see the whole outfit. You know, with my men's stuff, I do tend to be pretty selective. I see a lot of good men's stuff out there. I'll pick up vintage Tommy Bahama when I see it, but it really does take a little bit, you know, especially for somebody who doesn't do a lot of men's stuff. It takes a little bit of effort to kind of hone what you're looking for, but the good thing is I've gotten to the point where I kind of know what I'm looking for in men's, and for the most part, anything that I pick up tends to fly out of my closet pretty quickly. So for these guys, I had them listed at $45 and they popped through as a full price sale within 2 weeks. So perfect example of something that I knew was gonna go pretty quickly for a great price. $1 cost of the bins on this, that brought my profit to $34.02. Hope he loves them. I hope he gets a lot of wear out of these. Next up is this little tank top that I found, and I've had this guy for a while. This is from On Clouds. If you are familiar with On Clouds, you are probably familiar with their sneakers. And it's definitely a logo you want to keep your eyes out for. I don't know if that's showing up there. You see that little logo there? It's tonal. But they make these kind of minimalist running shoes. I really love them. They're not for everybody. They do run a little bit narrow, but I like them because they're very like kind of slimline. I know everybody loves the Hokas and they are comfortable. I'm the first person to say that, but I just can't get past the way they look. I can't get past how clunky they are on your feet. But I get it. I totally get it. They're so comfortable. I mean, let me know what you think down in the comments. I feel like I'm starting a flame war because I know people absolutely positively love them. But anyway, On Clouds is one of those brands for the shoes you want to keep your eyes out for. They retail, I want to say like $150, give or take 40 bucks. And I've had a couple pairs that I've resold, you know, with, I don't want to say like heavy use, but definitely not brand new. And they've resold in like the $75 range. So it's a brand that, at least for this very moment, you want to keep your eyes out for. So for this tank top, and I've had this for a little bit, I'm gonna pick up anything from On Clouds. I did get this at the bins. So I had this listed for about 6 or 7 months. I was pretty sure it wasn't gonna sell over the winter, so not super surprised by that. But I had it listed for $20. I got an offer for $15. With a $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $11.83. Great little piece. And that was in fantastic condition. The only condition issue was that the inside screen printing was starting to peel up a little bit, and I find that that happens with a lot of athletic wear anyway. It's not necessarily a sign of how much it's been worn. Moving right along. Oh, this was such a cute little piece. These are the kind of things that I will pick up every time at the bins. This is a little tank top. It's just kind of like a little strappy tank top with like an extreme racer back. It's almost to like razorback status. This is from Intimately Free People. Again, Intimately Free People does sell very well for me. And it's got this kind of slinky rib to it. So it's just one of those things that's gonna drape beautifully on the body. Definitely a difficult thing to photograph. And I pick these things up a lot, and I'm lucky. I feel like a lot of people just kind of know what they look like on. But they do have some good demand. People do like them, and anything I've ever had like this has sold super quick. I think they sell for quite a bit of money too. You know, like something like this probably would have been about 50 bucks from Free People, and you know, I think people are just chomping at the bit to get a bargain on something like this. So something I will always pick up. They're generally not gonna bring in $30, $40. So obviously keep your bottom line in line as you're doing the calculations on whether or not you wanna pick this up. And of course, consider your costs. But this guy I had listed for $28 for about a month. And I got an offer for $24, which I gladly accepted. Again, the Intimately Free People pieces like this, and of course the We the Free pieces, we've talked about this a lot. They sell for more, like I feel like they sell for more than your main tag Free People sells for. So had it listed for $28, got an offer for $24 after 1 month with a $1 cost of the bins. This brought my profit to $19.31. So adorable. All right, next up here, this is another thing that I will always pick up from Free People. This is a nightgown from Intimately, again, and this beautiful burgundy velvet. It's got this little like bralette situation here. It looks like lace trim, but it's actually a kind of a full bralette attached to the underside of the dress. Look at that back. Isn't that so pretty? This is definitely something that will probably not really be worn as a nightgown. This will probably be worn as a regular dress. And I think it is so cute. I love the color. I love the exposed seams. I think it really adds to it. I think it's just a cute little dress. These kind of things are they're not always the quickest sell. They do sell fairly quick, but they're not always the quickest sell, but they will generally sell for a pretty decent price. Again, another thing that will sell often for more than mainline Free People like sweaters. You know, something like this. Even the little lightweight cotton ones will sell for a pretty good price. Again, they might not sell super quick, but they generally don't take up too much storage room, so I'm always in when I find them, especially when I find them at the bins. And it is kind of a rarity too, because they are generally pretty delicate. It is kind of a rarity to find them in really great condition, so it's always an exciting find for me. So I had this for about 4 months, and I had it listed for $36. And this was one of those pieces that I had a ton of action on. A lot of those like unfulfilled offers from Depop. This did end up selling on Depop, so no shade to Depop, just one of those ones that I had a ton of offers on. I had it listed for $36. It came through as a full price sale after 4 months with a $1 cost of the bins. This brought my profit to $29.44. I hope she loves it. I went back and forth with her a bunch of times about the fit, and she seems really sweet, so I hope she loves it. Next up, this is a great little basic. This is from T.LA, which is a anthropology brand. I love these little t-shirt dresses. They're usually a pretty quick sell. Again, not something that's gonna break the bank, but they're really nice quality and they're perfect like summer staples. You know, it's just like your most comfortable t-shirt, but make it a dress. Make it more comfortable. I live in these kind of things around the house. I love a great summer dress. So again, this is the kind of thing that I probably, you know, would be judicious with how much you pay for it. Do not go pay, because this will be in the dress section. Do not go paying like $10 for this because you're probably not going to get the profit you want from it. I had this listed for $28 just to give you an idea of what they kind of go for. I had this listed for $28 and I got an offer for $20, which I did accept. And I'll tell you that I got that offer for $20 after I got several lowball offers in like the $10 to $11 range, which, you know, typically my policy on lowballs is, you know, don't take them personally. If it seems too low, and generally like for me, my threshold is like, is it less than 50% of what I'm asking? You know, unless we're really like talking about a bundle deal, I just don't think that we're gonna come together. So I just decline it, save everybody the heartache. But I did get, so I had this listed for $28. I got an offer for $20, which I did accept after a month. And with a $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $15 even. So I hope she loves it. I hope she lives in it like I do. And those things are just the best. Next up is this adorable sweater from Rachel Zoe. This was something that I sourced at the bins back east when I went home a couple months ago. So the cost of the bins back east, I want to say, is like $1.29 a pound, which is insane. This is, I believe, 100% linen. I typically don't pick up Rachel Zoe, but because this is full linen, like typically if it's something with a more substantial fabric or it's brand new with tags, I'll pick it up. But I am pretty sure I ended up paying like 50 cents for this. So not a question. I'm gonna make a profit on it, so I knew it was gonna be a good bet. I do love finding linen summer weight sweaters too. They're kind of, I don't find them all that often. I'll sometimes find like linen blend, like chunkier sweaters, but this like lightweight linen, I love it. I do know that Rachel Zoe is one of those brands that you can find a lot in like TJ Maxx. And I generally try to stay away from those brands just because you can get them like less expensive. They tend to retail high if you find them in Macy's or Nordstrom, whatever. But you know, you can get them at quite a good deal there. So I really have to be sourcing it at a very low price to pick it up, or it's got to be something kind of like really special and ideally brand new with tags. So this one I've had for about 8 months. So that just kind of adds to the story about why I don't pick up Rachel Zoe all that much, but I did have it listed for $24 and I got an offer for $19, and this was on Mercari, so they don't have any seller's fees, which I love. The cost on this was about 50 cents. So with that being said, my profit on this was $18.50. Hope she loves it. I mean, again, I almost couldn't not get it. It was so inexpensive that I couldn't leave it behind. Next up here, this is a great kind of piece to pick up anytime you see it. So this is a pair of North Face hiking pants. They are convertible hiking pants. So they have the zip off legs here. Make sure that's zipped up for transit. These are in pretty great condition. The North Face is one of those just like really reputable brands in the kind of outdoor wear world. They're not as expensive as something like an Arc'teryx or a Patagonia, but they do have like a very good reputation. So anybody who's into hiking would not even bat an eye at picking up something from the North Face, especially if it's something that they are, you know, buying to beat up on the trail. And convertible pants are something that can be quite expensive. These probably retailed in like the high 80s, maybe up to $100 depending on the model. And they're in very good shape. Sometimes you'll find these kind of pieces at a thrift store and they will have been worked because, you know, people are taking them on hikes. They're sliding down rocks on their bums. Like, they take abuse. That is the whole point of clothing like this. But the alternate side is if somebody buys them and they don't wear them all that often, they're not trendy, right? Like, they're not coming in like really trendy cuts. They're something that you buy once and hopefully you have for 10 years over your next 10 years of hikes. And then you get a new one and it's probably gonna look pretty similar to the one that you had before. So I will always pick these kind of things up as long as I get them prices right. Arc'teryx and Patagonia, I would say, feel comfortable paying up. I would say even seriously for. I probably wouldn't bat an eye at paying $15 or $20 for something like that because I know that I'll get $40, $60, maybe $100, depending on the material, like if it's Gore-Tex, whatever. But something like the North Face, I would comfortably pay up to like $10 for something like this. So I had these for about 3 weeks. I had these listed for 3 weeks, and I had them listed for $34. And I got an offer for $25, which I did accept. And with the $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $19 even. So great little piece. I hope she has many adventures in those. That always makes me happy. I love selling that kind of stuff. Next up, this one's splitting a little hanger here. Now this was something I knew I had to pick up when I saw it. This is a tiny little 9-month vintage strawberry shortcake dress. Can you see that little graphic on the front? It says, "Very good friends." Is that so adorable? Like this little pinafore dress. I mean, the tag on it is super, like, look at this tag. Can you see that? I mean, this is straight out of like 1981. So strawberry shortcake, I don't pick up a ton of vintage kids clothes. Usually when I find it, it's in pretty rough shape. But something like this, like with a character on it, especially like for right now, strawberry shortcake is kind of having a moment. Like if you go to Target, you will find strawberry shortcake t-shirts. It's a whole thing. But something like this, again, always keep in mind your sourcing costs. Don't go paying crazy amounts for it. But this had, like when I listed this, and I kind of expected it would, when I listed it this got so much action. Like vintage character things, vintage character t-shirts, vintage character dresses. Like this is a dress. You don't see this all that often. You'll sometimes see little t-shirts, little pajamas. The little dresses are probably one of the most in demand. If you can find overalls. Overalls will be the most in demand. So if you can find any kind of like vintage character overalls, I would comfortably pay up. I think it was actually one of you who said that you found a vintage strawberry shortcake. I'm pretty sure it was strawberry shortcake overalls, and they sold like in a day for $60. So just, you know, it's not something that people would necessarily look for, especially if you're doing mostly like contemporary women's wear, but keep your eyes out for it because there is serious profit to be made, and there's also something to be said about saving these little treasures and getting them back into use. So I had this listed for 1 week at $34, and I got an offer for $25. I did have quite a few lowball offers on this in the $10, $11 range. So when I got $25, I did accept it with a $1 cost of the bins. This brought my profit to $19 even. And I hope they absolutely love it. And I hope whatever little babe they're dressing in that looks as cute as I think that they're gonna love. Next up, this is a little tie that I found. And I found a little clutch of vintage designer ties. I don't know if that's the right word of it. So this is one from Giorgio Armani. And the funny thing is, a lot of the ties that I got were very classic. They were very like classic designs. They were red with little diamonds. They were blue with little crests. This one was kind of decidedly 90s design. This is like a silk jacquard, and then the print is very 90s. And sure enough, this is the one that went first. So who knows? That kind of stuff always confuses me, but you know, who am I? Who am I to judge? I know that 90s fashion is having like a little bit of a comeback in men's fashion, so maybe that's it. I hope this is an appropriate way to wrap these. I don't want to crease it, you know? Because I know this has to go in one of the bags. And I don't want it, again, I don't want to give it a little crease. I want it to come out of the box kind of ready to go. Because not everybody has a steamer on hand, you know, that can quickly tackle silk. That works, right? So I had this one listed at $32. I wasn't really sure what to price these guys at. And lo and behold, this popped through as a full price sale. So that's always really exciting. I had it for about 2 months, and with a $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $21.58. And I hope he loves it. These are the kind of things that are just like a rarity. Like nobody else will have that tie. And finally, I'm sure you've maybe been staring at this the entire time. Look at this absolutely ridiculous, glorious Halloween vest. Now, get up close on that. That is all quilted. And if you look at the inside tag, that's the thing that like really put me over the top. This is handmade. This is handmade. And it did have this little Halloween brooch on it, which I just kept intact. I'm like, that is going with the vest. Also, like, look at the buttons on this. Can you see the little star buttons? It's It's so cute. I was pretty sure this was gonna be a sale on Depop, and sure enough, it is just so cute. And of course, like one of a kind. I'll pick up these kind of seasonal things all the time. I know that they're sought after. I know people look for them. I know a lot of like even the little branches are quilted here. This is so cute and like clearly made with love. You know, like that's the kind of thing that I think, especially like Depop buyers, they're looking for. They're looking for something that is one of a kind. You know, if it can be handmade, even better. It was signed, right? Like somebody made that with a lot of love, and it ended up at the thrift store, and now it's going on to a new home, and it's gonna be loved once again. That makes me so happy. Though it is so interesting that this ended up selling in July. I was kind of anticipating holding on to this. I've sold in the past couple weeks, I've sold 2 like Halloween themed pieces like this. And I guess it's one of those, like, if you see it, you love it, you gotta get it because it's one of a kind, and it might not be there come October. So this I had listed for $32, and I had it listed for about 2 months, and I got an offer for $25, which I did accept, and with a $1 cost at the bins has brought my profit to $19.95. I hope she absolutely loves this little piece. So, so cute. So that is it for the shipment today, guys. Thank you so much for hanging with me while I literally get my work done. I am, of course, running super late, so I've got to get these things loaded up and over to the post office. But guys, again, thank you so much for choosing to spend a little time with me. If you had fun, please consider leaving a like on this video. Of course, don't forget to subscribe. But without further ado, guys, have the most beautiful weekend. Happy hunting, and I will see you in the next one.